Paralives has been delayed to May 2026. Don't freak out, this is a good thing. Let me tell you why. It's sad news. I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of us that's pretty disappointed. It makes sense to feel like this. Early access release was so close, and now it feels like it's going to be forever from now. I know. I'm a little late talking about this. I had to digest the news myself, and then I had tons of IRL stuff happening. But I've been itching to talk about it. It's easy to be clouded by this disappointment and not to see the positives in this sad news. In actuality, this delay is such a good thing for Paralives. Here are a few reasons. But first, Instant Gaming is running a campaign for Black Friday from November 28th to December 1st, 2025. It's an insane Black Friday event. There's 100 plus games at their lowest price of the year across all platforms. There's new games unlocked daily to keep the offers fresh. And in fact, there will be hourly cart refunds. That means one customer will win their entire shopping cart completely free every single hour. That's 96 total winners across 4 days. So if you're into expanding your gaming library and you want some crazy good Black Friday deals, check out the link in the video description. Not only would you be shopping the best deals, you would also be supporting the channel. And who knows, maybe you will be the lucky winner to get your cart refunded. Anyways, happy gaming! Before the Paralives delay, there was a general feeling of uneasiness with this early access release. I think part of this was because of InZoi's early access release and how all of that panned out. I don't want to sit here and hate on InZoi. I haven't played it, and, well, I have no interest in playing it because of the style. I think the hyper-realism isn't for me. Either way, there's no denying that despite some of the success of its early access launch, there was a ton of disappointment within the life sim community. This boils down to a few things. For one, players felt disappointed with the incomplete experience. I feel like there are a ton of people who are willing to test out life sims in early access, but aren't familiar with how early access works. Unfortunately, InZoi got some criticism because of this. And what's even more unfortunate is that this sort of criticism will stick to the general life sim player's zeitgeist even after the experience feels a bit more full. Don't believe me? Take a look at what happened with The Sims 4 at launch. It was incomplete, and we still talk about it more than 10 years later. Although, that wasn't early access, and isn't necessarily a fair comparison. Sims 4 should have felt like a full experience at launch, considering it was a AAA game published by EA as the next flagship game in the Sims franchise. Going back to InZoi, players have expressed frustration at known bugs that aren't getting fixed and the lack of content. So much so that people have bought it, played it, and now even though that there have been several content drops since its launch, people are still not playing it. There's been a rapid drop in concurrent players after that initial hype, despite having strong early sales and tens of thousands of concurrent players to begin with. At the beginning, also known as the all-time peak for the game, which was 8 months ago, there was 87,377 players. Mind you, the estimates for this game were between 1.1 and 1.5 million players. This means that the sales didn't meet the estimates. Recently, there have been 1,381 players, and at the time of writing the script, the 24-hour peak was 1,507. That sucks. Having such a drop-off in concurrent players is never a good sign for a game. Looking at you, Destiny 2. Oof. Also, when you look at the Twitch stats here, not many people are actively searching for InZoi content. The all-time peak, when it was released 8 months ago, was 170,165 people. Within the last 24 hours, the peak was 88 viewers. And as I write this, there are currently 14 viewers right now. All of this makes players feel like the game was released too soon and that a paid early access launch for an unfinished game was problematic. This is because people have spent their hard-earned money on it. When you buy something like that for, let's say, $40 USD, which is like 56 Canadian, which if you think about it is just more than half $100 Canadian. And now that we've worded it like that, like whoa! That can feel like a lot to a lot of people. Anywho, for that amount of money, you would expect there to be a certain level of quality, or like completeness. When the game feels too unfinished, it creates frustration. This could then lead people to viewing early access as a problem itself, especially if they bought something that doesn't yet feel worth the money. All of this is understandable. It's never a fun thing to spend money on something only to end up feeling like it wasn't worth it, and to regret it. Does this mean InZoi failed? not particularly. However, this general feeling of disappointment will stick to the game's legacy like white cat hair on black leggings. If you know, you know, you know? With all of this being said, we don't want this for Paralives. We don't want Paralives players to experience an overall negative feeling towards the game if it were released half-baked. We don't want this negative experience to be associated with the early days of Paralives. This sort of thing makes a game or breaks it, respectively. I'm saying that with no added pressure to the developers, okay? Not trying to add any more stress. Just telling the truth. The delay for early access will help the devs create something that feels more complete, more of what the players are expecting, and that is never a bad thing. You know, I think it's fine to feel all of this, but it's not entirely true that InZoi failed. With that being said, this all does lead to a lot of disappointment and frustration. This overall negative feeling after the release is something that we want to avoid with Paralives. It's the sad truth, but life sims and early access games in general are judged harshly at launch. If Paralives were released in December with missing features or major issues, players would immediately label it as unfinished, overhyped, or another failed indie promise. And like we just said, this kind of reputation is incredibly hard to recover from, even if the game improves later. It really is white cat hair on black leggings. It's hard to shake, and it always comes back. We've been saying this for many years now, but I'd rather the devs take the time to develop the game until they're confident with it, rather than rush to get something out. It's no different now. I want them to feel satisfied with the direction of Paralives and feel ready to let people play. This will guarantee a better early access release experience for everyone. I've seen a lot of comparisons with Paralives and Life by You, even some memes. Quite frankly, you can't compare this. Sure, they're both life sims that have been developed by somewhat small teams. Life by You had like 24 people, while Paralives has grown to about 15. And at some point or another, they've been called future competitors for The Sims, maybe even by some YouTubers as sim killers. And that's kind of where the comparisons stop. Being delayed isn't a death sentence just because it was for Life by You. Seriously, let's get this out of the way. The biggest difference between Paralives and Life by You, other than the fact that one looks amazing, I'm talking about Paralives here, is how the games are being developed. Paralives is being developed with the support of patrons on Patreon. That's it. It is being made because of the support from the community. Life by You was backed by a big company, Paradox Interactive, which also backed games like City Skylines. This little fact makes a huge difference. It meant that Life by You developers had to make sure Paradox Interactive was happy with the way things were developing so that they could continue to financially support them and therefore the game development. Unfortunately for the devs, Paradox Interactive decided that Life by You wasn't worth supporting, even after 2 delays. This is because it wasn't developing the way they wanted. They determined that the game was too far from meeting their quality expectations despite a long development period. It was too long and uncertain for something that might not meet their standards. Therefore, it was cancelled. I'm pretty sure it means that it also cost too much to continue to develop the way it was while not meeting those quality expectations, and you know, thinking about it, it probably wasn't going to earn as much as they wanted it to. With all of that being said, Paralives doesn't have that sort of relationship. The only thing that could be similar would be their relationship with their patrons. The patrons could withdraw their support if they're disappointed with the way things have been developing. I'm sure that there have been plenty of people who have done that over the years. And sure, less financial support could mean less ability to hire additional employees, which then could slow down development. Either way, delays doesn't always mean cancellation. For Paralives, it simply means that they want to ensure players are getting an early access experience that they're confident with and that to a degree, meets expectations. They didn't feel ready, so it was delayed. Over the years, the people who have completely supported Paralives have made it clear that they would rather have the developers take their time to get it right. First impressions like this can make or break the future of a video game. I don't see why this isn't the case still. I know we were excited for the early access release, and it's disappointing, but it would be much more disappointing if they released the game that they didn't feel confident about. When they don't feel confident about it. When early access does happen, we'll still be here, ready and excited. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. I appreciate it. Even though early access has been delayed, I'm still so excited to talk more about Paralives. So let's do this again soon, okay? Until then, stay happy, healthy, and hydrated. Bye.